Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lance here, and I have a question for you related to how your bad days go. If you're like me and you have some bad days where it can almost throw a wrench in your entire emotional system, by the time you get off work or get done with your workday, you're tempted to either skip a workout, decide to eat your feelings, but the fact is that the reality is that what we need the most is the thing that we're most tempted to skip. Here's what I mean by this. The thing of it is that being in motion will change our emotions. So oftentimes what happens is we've got this awesome goal that we're really focused on reaching, and as long as everything goes right, we stay really connected with keeping in alignment with those things. But what do we do when we've got these days that, again, whether the boss says something or maybe you're even feeling threatened with how economy is going and it's causing you to feel in a state of scarcity or in a state of frustration or overwhelm or anxiety. How many of you guys know that these things here that I'm talking about are usually the bigger, I would say the biggest catalyst for causing people to derail themselves off of their fitness goals or out of their fitness alignment habits? Even more so than, oh, this wasn't available at this restaurant, so I couldn't eat it. So many people are focused on, well, I messed up my diet, or sticking perfectly to the diet, or always hitting workouts. They're always focused on the external things. And it's not that those things don't play a role. They do. If you're not exercising, if you're not following some variation of energy balance for your nutrition, you're never going to reach your goals anyway. But you can do and have all of the right setup properly, where you have the best meal plan, an awesome workout program. You've got, a partner to work out with, and you've got your shoes laid out. Everything is right for you to be able to stay in alignment, consistently hit workouts, follow your nutrition, and finally get back the life that you want. The problem is that that's not how life goes. So many people prepare for being ready for working out, being ready for meal prepping, cutting out foods. They're focused on all of these things. But how many of you guys actually start thinking and preparing for emotional days like this, where the emotions have ransacked your original plan because you feel like, my gosh, man, this day was so horrible. I'm so drained, so emotionally spent. There's no way I can go get a workout. Not in this state of mind, not a chance. And what happens is first of all, you might be first tempted to just skip a workout. Now, I'm not saying that missing a workout is going to be the end of anything. In fact, sometimes it can be the greatest way of self-care if you're doing something and spreading yourself too thin. But here's what ends up happening though. What normally happens is we don't have a plan for the internal struggles that we have. We only have a plan for the external. And what happens is we have a few of these days, or let's just say 1 to 2 of them in a given month, and it's not what happens that day, it's what it leads into that creates the greatest travesty for our results. What I mean by that is simply this. We start off having this emotional day, and at the end of the night, if we've not put in the practice subconsciously to make sure that on these days we have a plan, we're going to default back to our regularly scheduled programming, which means that if you've got 30 or 35 years of eating emotionally and overeating or simply just treating yourself with food or something like that, or even allowing yourself to skip workouts or things of that nature, when you have those bad days, you are going to notice every time you start either making progress, you go backwards, or every time you're trying to make progress, this happens before you can even build momentum. So the fact is that what I want you to do though, is to consider the fact that being in motion is the very thing required and needed for you to get out of the emotional state you're in. What I mean simply is this: chemicals change upon movement, and some of those chemicals we are desperately seeking out to be stirred back up in our bodies so that we can feel less of that overwhelm, that anxiety, the fear, the scarcity, whatever it is that feels like it's attacking you. You need to understand it's attacking you from within. And what happens is a lot of times we want to change some sort of external factor. we want to watch a TV show, watch something, or we want to consume something that changes our chemistry from outside in. The better way to do this is to change our chemistry from inside out, meaning that we're going to determine what it is that we're desiring. Now, a lot of times people don't ever stop to think about what they're desiring in those moments. They only think about, get me out of this pain that I'm feeling right now. This is ridiculous. I need some sort of relief for this anxiety. What I would implore you to do is to take a step back and to begin to actually ask yourself, what do I need right now, and what would make me feel like I'm like I'm choking. That's the idea. When anxiety and stressors hit and you feel that emotional, usually two things happen to me. I feel like I'm, again, metaphorically, it's choking, the walls are closing in, or I feel so exhausted that it's like I can barely keep my eyes open because the emotions and the physical have begun taking root. So what we normally do is we seek out things that might take us out of that state of emotion only momentarily. So we go eat a sleeve of cookies, and we notice that, maybe the feeling isn't as severe. We're noticing that we're maybe even feeling a slight bit of dopamine. We're feeling a little bit like, screw that, who cares, whatever. We're having a shift. The problem is, when we're getting this shift that's happening externally, that we're doing outside in, within a moment's time, if this shift that we're making for this new thing to help us get out of this state of being that we're in, if this thing actually leads to more guilt than what you started off with, or more shame, etc., now what you've done is you've gotten out of the state of mind that was causing you to feel overwhelmed, and then you've traded it for more of the regret or the guilt or the shame that comes with making a decision that isn't going to serve the goals that you've set out to actually set or to reach. So it's not always easy to do, but when you understand that when you're starting to eat your feelings, or to do something like skipping a workout, what you're looking for is some sort of relief, some sort of respite, depending on how you say that, from the thing that you're going through, the emotions or the feeling of overwhelm. My question for you is, what if you could get rid of those feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, and actually get on the other side of that you do feel better, and it doesn't come with guilt and shame? This happens from actually starting to be active. Now, again, what I want to make sure that you get here is that I'm not saying that every time you have a bad day, force yourself to do the stuff that you don't want to do. Sometimes it does come down to that. It really does. But here's the point that I want you to really get here. Stop mistreating yourself every time that you have a bad day, and give yourself the tools and the permission, this is key here, to get out of the funk and into a better headspace where there are solutions. This is the whole point of everything here. There are no solutions, zero solutions will occur that live in a headspace of focusing on what went wrong rather than how it could be different. When we have this bad day, we're not usually thinking about like, oh man, that didn't really go the way that I wanted to. We don't treat it like a scientific experiment that we go, well, that didn't work. I'm going to do this different so I can have a better outcome next time. Instead, we just treat it like those events were all random, like we're victims of everything. And then the only thing a victim can do at this point is to clean their wounds and to do something that makes them feel better about the bad situation that they're in that they can't get out of. How many of you guys know that is not your situation? It's only your situation if you decide that it's your situation. So the key is that the main problem is that when we don't use what's known as emotional intelligence and intentional decision making with our goals and our desired outcomes in mind, what happens is we tend to skip or remove the very things that we need to actually feel better. We start chasing things that make us feel worse, and we avoid the things that make us feel better. Okay? So this is something that what you think is working, what comes natural, is absolutely not going to help you. It's not going to make you feel better. In fact, it will make you feel worse. We want to get away from that as much as possible. So the fact is that when we choose something such as food, skipping a workout, consuming alcohol over something else like this, not only do we not get the dopamine surge, or not only do we, well, sometimes we can get that from something else that's unhealthy, but not only do we not get the emotional shift of being in motion and changing those things, but we also get to battle later on the guilt and shame that came with the choices that you made out of being frustrated and not really focusing on a solution, but just simply focusing on your problem and making it go away, or at least feel like it's going away. This thing here, where it feels like this is the normal thing to do, and hey, I get it. I used to have emotional days like that, and the first thing I would want to do is when I come home, finish my work stuff or my chores, I want to plop down on the couch and eat a giant bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and and then refill it, because eventually at the end of the bowls here, I should feel better, or at least more, I'll say, ambivalent to what's going on. And that's a good possibility. You could feel a little bit more ambivalent, but is ambivalence really going to be the thing that's going to make you feel better and stay feeling better and still help you to reach the goals you want to reach? I think it's worth stating that a lot of times we talk about goals and we talk about this lifestyle that everybody wants to reach, but I don't think that people really go back and consider, why did we set those goals to begin with? We set those goals because there was a level of pain or discomfort, or we recognize that there was a standard that we have for ourselves that we are no longer living. So my question is for you, when you are swapping out something that helps your standard of living, helps your psyche, your emotions, helps your physical, and helps to get you closer to a place of health and confidence, and to actually have energy, vitality, maybe even a better libido, a better relationship. These are the things that you're seeking out. But yet when those emotional days happen, those things poof, they're gone just like that, simply because we didn't focus on them. We were focusing each day just on being reactive on what happens every single day. When we're reactive instead of proactive, we're not thinking about taking care of our emotions, our self-care, coming up with rules, or what I would say guidelines or techniques or strategies in order to keep ourselves doing well on bad days, we're going to end up falling prey to some of these things here. And again, the point is, when you're doing these things, it's not like missing a workout is horrible, and it's not like choosing something food-wise that's maybe a little bit more sugary, or maybe something that's satiates the emotions a little bit more. It's not inherently that doing those things are bad. It's that if you're doing this consistently and you've got a habit of this, you don't have a system that you're following. What you have is a couple of rules that when things go perfect, you follow, and when they don't, you just kind of throw your hands up in the air. And if this is your modality of kind of getting in shape or reaching any goals, this is why you're not feeling certain and secure of your future. These are areas of anxiety, of overwhelm, of stress, so on and so forth. And that is the thing that we want to make sure that we're avoiding. This can't be happening if we're only focused on diet and exercise alone. So the reality is that we've got to focus on both external and internal in order to make sure that our transformation is one that lasts and it's not a temporary makeover. So I hope this has helped you guys. I hope that you really do see that, again, changing your being in motion is going to change your emotions. It's going to help you to stir up the chemicals that allow you to see what's really ahead of you. That there's a solution. It takes you out of the situation that you're in, subsides those chemicals, and gives you a fresh perspective. And that can't usually happen when we're choosing to satiate some sort of emotion rather than determining what the best solution is for this. So these are things that we go over with our clients in our Master Your Body Confidence University program. They are helpful. I promise you, these are things. Now, again, we can go deeper into this where there's actual strategies. What does this look like? What does it look like if I'm exhausted, Lance, and you're telling me to still hit a workout? We'll talk about that in another video. And what we mean there is just simply knowing how to scale things back based on what your day looks like or your week, rather than just simply just cutting it out altogether because of emotions. So again, I hope this has helped you. If you feel like this has been of any value, be sure to put #value in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions.